I've been looking forward to seeing you and giving you your natal chart, your birth chart as it's called, that will tell what was happening in the heavens at the moment you took your first breath.
Wow.
And the idea is that there's a synchronicity between what's above and what is here on earth at that moment. And so I've seen the number, but I can't remember exactly. I think there's 250,000 possibilities of what a chart could look like. So in a way, our charts are very unique. So I have this prepared for you, and it's my pleasure to hand it to you.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
Wow. I have no idea. I only see my name and where I was born and about, the date and things like that. And then all these interesting things on here. Please.
That's for
inform
you.
me.
And I have another copy of it, so that we both are working off the same document here. Well, before we even think about what things mean, I would like to ask you to think what a map of your soul could mean to you. I mean, have you ever had a map of your soul before?
Only those drawings I did, you know, the island thing.
Yes.
But that's not really,
Well,
basically no.
Okay, all right. And most of us have not been given something like that, or a spiritual blueprint, or a spiritual MRI is a phrase I like. And then when you think about what could that mean, if it means that perhaps it tells me why I've been sent here, what I'm doing here, what my life is about. And I know that seems like an extravagant claim, but truly I think we can look at this and over time come up with answers that impinge on that question, impinge.
Well, I know when I did the Myers-Briggs,
yes,
and I realized that there was a type that was like me, there was such a sense of comfort. And I have no idea whether this is anything like, I don't mean it's like that, but that feeling of, I felt more at home in myself because I had somehow a little bit of a map.
Very, very good.
So that was,
Same idea. And Myers-Briggs is a very useful adjunct to psychotherapy, as you know, and so is the Enneagram. It's another one of those ways of mapping out who people are. But neither of them are quite as specific as the astrological chart.
All right.
Now, you've already found out that we're not talking about newspaper astrology, right? That's a whole different...
and that's kind of what I thought it was, because you know I had some hesitation.
Sure.
And now I'm really excited after listening to your presentation on it.
Also, as a therapist yourself, you know that C.G. Jung, who has been the mentor for our work, used astrology charts. They're called natal charts for your meaning when you were born. And the person is sometimes called the native of the chart. That Jung used birth charts with his clients. They would come to him in Zurich, and he had this wonderful old house that he built. And if they retired from traveling from the U.S. or wherever, because he had people from all over the world, sometimes he'd put them on a couch right next to the lake where the house was, and in the yard under a tree, and say, just rest. Your first appointment is to just relax. You're here. Think about what brought you to Switzerland. And he would be working on their birth charts because he had experimented and found that they added a great deal to his understanding of his clients because of the principle of synchronicity. That's what lies behind this working. And
now, can you say something about that again, the synchronicity? What does that mean as far as this and that? I don't want to get off what you're doing, but I think that's so important for me to remember.
Well, it's when two things happen at the same time that seem to have a relationship, but it's not a cause and effect relationship. And so, in terms of astrology, we're talking about patterns of archetypes that are highlighted at any moment in time, and somehow also being the patterns that are touching that child with its first breath.
Mm.
And here's a picture of you when with your first breath.
Wow.
So, but just to think, what would it mean to me if I had a map of the reason I was born? To me, that if we didn't do anything else, I would be excited for others to find out, and I'm excited to find that out for myself. So we're going to sit here. I have, this is my natal chart.
Okay.
And we have several forms that we can use. And over a lifetime, I've been at this for 40 years now, and I'm still just an astro friend. I'm not an astrologer. Wow. The real astrologers are full-time. That's all they do. And I fell in love with astrology when I was in my, let's see, 1970, in my 40s. And realized if I wanted to really be good at understanding this, I'd have to drop everything else that I was studying, because it was so dense, so deep. But it doesn't have to be. You can approach it just at the very surface level.
Okay.
So here's me, and this is you. So one more thing before we even look at the chart in detail. See the empty center there?
Yeah. Yeah.
If this is what I'm suggesting it is, a picture of your life story from birth to the end. And by the way, astrology never shows when we're going to die. Oh, so people ask that.
I didn't think about that, but that is a good question.
People wonder, and any reputable astrologer, there are codes of ethics, by the way, for astrologers in several organizations. And they all say do not fall into the trap of telling people what looks like it's pointing to death, because you might see it if you're a really trained astrologer, but you do not want to ever put that kind of information out, which would be very dangerous perhaps for some people, I would think. So anyway, now, but if this is a picture of your life, where did it come from? What's behind it? Is it just, are we just random people walking through cities and towns and farms and fields, or is something a little more planned and orchestrated? And you don't have to answer that.
Okay. Because I think there's purposefulness.
Yes.
Yeah.
And meaning.
Especially if we accept it and move forward with that purpose, I guess. I don't know, whatever, something like that.
Right.
Anyway, please tell me that.
Yeah.
From this point of view.
Well, we'll leave this as an open question, and for everybody. What should be in the center of your chart? What is the source of this information? And some people put spiritual symbols that they have learned over time, like the Tai Chi, the yin yang symbol, which is an interesting one in terms of astrology, especially. And others put some, if they are connected to a religion, they include that. Or they might have some abstract shape from a sacred geometry shape of some kind. Or even things from meditation sources like the yantras of India, the beautiful mandalas. But that can just be a space until you figure out what do you think is the source of...
Oh, you mean the source of life?
The source of your life.
Okay. Well, I was confused about that. I thought, like, what astrologically should I put in there?
No.
So that was what was
something
confusing
bigger.
me. Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I would know what to put
Where
there.
did this come from?
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
And,
okay, now.
I have explored, for instance, world religions all my life, but I ended up putting in the center of mine a picture from an icon of Jesus, because my roots are really basically Christian, and that's where I find my spiritual home. So it could be something as explicit as that, or it could be something much more abstract, a design of some kind, or whatever works.